So just pulled up to my local Bank of America today. Check this out. Temporarily closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. So, question: what if I needed to get $3, $4, $5, $6,000 out of my bank account today here at this Bank of America, right behind me? Oh yeah, I could maybe roll over to the ATM over there. Problem is, that ATM's not going to let you take out more than $400. So if I needed that $4,000 or $5,000 today to maybe buy a cheap used car, maybe to go buy some gold, pay some emergency, I can't go to my own local Bank of America? That's crazy. So for all the people out there that don't realize what's happening right here in California with gas prices, everybody's getting hit, no doubt about it. But take a look at this. $639. That's $639 for premium, and that's let's see what that says, $659 for diesel, $639 for premium. How in the world are people going to continue to do this? This is absolutely getting out of control. It's Friday, March 11th, 2022. So another bank closure. For whatever reason, another bank closed. How do you like the gas prices? $6.39 for super unleaded right out here in Southern California. Absolutely crazy. Before I go any further into this video, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with everyone you know, you don't know. Blast it all over your social media, and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Also, I want to thank Miss Thomas for keeping me in her prayers. Miss Thomas, I really appreciate that. Just want to give Miss Thomas a shout out. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's talk about and recap what has transpired today. Dow Jones down 229 points at close. This is the 5th straight week in a row that the Dow has finished down. Dow was up 341 points earlier. NASDAQ down 286 today. Markets across the board down. Oil right now hovering a little bit over $109 a barrel. People will ask me, why did gold go down? Silver was pretty flat. Why did gold go down? I talked to a friend of mine, and I don't know if it's JP Morgan printing a lot of paper. Somebody told me today that there were a lot of margin calls, especially in China, and that there was a big sell-off in Chinese gold because of these margin calls, maybe margin calls here. But I have no doubt that gold is going to continue to go much higher, and it's all I could say is it's a great time to buy, as it is below 2,000. With what we know is coming, with this type of inflation running absolutely out of control, all-time highs in my opinion. They can say 42-year high, it's all-time highs. Because if we go back to how they calculated inflation back in the 80s, early 90s, we would be at all-time highs right now. So I will be selling no gold, no silver. I am just a buyer of gold and silver, especially gold. As I said earlier, the market, Dow Jones, was up 340 points, 341 points. And a lot of this is due to the fact that there was a story that came out earlier today that Russia and Ukraine were in some progress, some sort of progression of a ceasefire. Well, Ukraine contradicted that story and said they knew nothing about it. So just another head fake in these markets. And sure enough, markets turn red, and they close in the red across the board. Household wealth tops $150 trillion for the first time despite surge in debt. This on CNBC yesterday. Everyone feels good right now. But how many people right now are surviving off their homes, using their homes as an ATM? We knew millions of people pulled money out of their homes over the past year and a half, 2 years. How many people now are using that money to survive in this economy. I think a lot of people are using money that they pulled out of their homes right now just to survive. Household net worth in the fourth quarter totaled $150.3 trillion, rising, get this, 8.2% from the previous quarter, not the previous year, the previous quarter. Debt rose sharply in households, in businesses, and of course, government. Americans are richer due to a very, very propped up, artificial, fake stock market and a very propped up real estate market, ladies and gentlemen. It's all propped up and people feel rich, but they are not really rich. They are not wealthy. This is all fake. And it's going to come tumbling down. And people who thought they were wealthy because they're wealthy on paper, because the price of their house went up or their 401k went up, this is so fake and so dangerous. Total financial debt is sitting at $65.1 trillion. This includes treasuries, commercial and industrial loans. Take a look at commercial loans right now. This is, we're going to see the worst. If we're already not seeing the worst commercial real estate crash in U.S. history, I don't know what this is. It's bad. But I passed two more stores out here. One was a More Furniture right on Highway 111 in Rancho Mirage, closed. And another restaurant in La Quinta, closed. $18.5 trillion in the business world. This is debt. And of course, over $30 trillion of government debt that we have, approaching $31 trillion. Household debt jumped 8% from last year. So everybody's wealthier, but everybody has more debt. Figure that out. Inflation rose 7.9% in February as food and energy costs pushed prices to highest in 40 years. First off, we know that inflation is not 7.9%. I would have to say it's got to be hovering around 17, 18%. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. What is the real inflation number right now? What's the real CPI? It's not 7.9%. Nobody watching this video believes that. But what is the real number? Is it 20? Is it 17? Is it 25? I'm seeing numbers all over the board. And my question continues. How in the world are people doing this? Every time they go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, $6.39 for super unleaded. This is insane. Over $6 for diesel. I mean, this is absolutely insane. U.S. unemployment claims. We got these numbers yesterday. Climb 11,000 to 227,000. Not a word. Nobody even talked about this. But first-time jobless claims last week come in at 227,000. No doubt, in my humble opinion, and I could be completely wrong here, but no doubt in my mind, the Fed will be raising rates next week. It doesn't even matter because it's going to be 25 basis points. Maybe they'll surprise us and raise it 50 basis points. They are so late. And this has caused so much destruction. They are so far behind. They would have to get so aggressive that they would send America into the greatest depression in history if they actually got aggressive with interest rates. This is what happens when you continue to be dovish. You leave rates at zero for over a decade. You manipulate the 30-year mortgage rates, to 2.6, 2.7%. All this cheap, easy money out there. And of course, the $8 trillion that has been pumped into these markets, into this economy. And now the next 1.5 trillion that will be pumped into it this year just guarantees that we're going to see inflation continue to run rampant, and just guarantees why I own gold, why my friends own gold, why my family members own gold, and probably why you should own some gold and some silver also, and that's not financial advice. One step closer to stagflation, Goldman Sachs slashes 2022 GDP forecast to 1.75%, sees a 35% chance of recession. Just another warning sign, ladies and gentlemen, and my question goes out to all of you. How does this country survive? How do we survive as a nation? How do we have a thriving economy when we have a GDP forecast of 1.75, We're not making anything. We are consuming. People living off credit cards, people living off their houses, living off all that equity they pulled out of their home, using their homes as ATMs. This is what people are surviving off of right now. And you look at the job market and you look at how many jobs out there are low wage, low paying jobs, no benefits, many of these jobs not full time. Nobody can survive. And we're watching this stagflation take place. We're watching this economy go right down the toilet. And look, it's just another bank closure, another gas station charging over $6 a gallon, gas stations in LA charging over $7 a gallon, food prices soaring, national debt soaring, deficits soaring, just this eruption in Eastern Europe. We're going day by day, but I'm watching the cheerleaders today on these business channels, just trying to sucker everybody into buying houses and buying stocks. Just buy the effing dip. And, as soon as things cool down in Eastern Europe, everything's going to go back to normal. Everything's fine. Like, we don't have problems here. We don't have record deficits, record debts. We don't have pensions running upside down now, running deficits. And we don't have a labor issue. We don't have a retail issue. We don't have a spending issue. This is absolutely an incredible time, ladies and gentlemen, and the real problems here are being ignored. And we're going to blame everything on what's happening over in Eastern Europe. That's really, really sad, because these problems, we saw the repo market, what was it, a year and a half ago? We saw the retail apocalypse. We saw cars just sitting on lots that nobody would buy. I mean, we saw so many problems. And now all of a sudden, this is all because of what's happening in Eastern Europe. The problems we're seeing right now existed years ago, and now it's all coming to a head. But, 1 minute we want to blame it on a health crisis, the next minute we're going to blame it on a war, and just ignore the reality of our own problems while nothing is being done. Only 18% of Americans say their wages are keeping pace with soaring inflation. Maybe that's a problem, isn't it? That's a big problem. How about the problem when we couldn't unload ships, and we still can't unload ships? I think we still have 100 plus ships out in Long Beach and LA. We can't even unload ships. It's incredible. 62% of people surveyed said inflation affected their spending. 42% surveyed said that they either saved less money, tapped into savings, borrowed money, or took out a loan. How about some legal loan sharking, like payday loans, 400%. Real inflation, as I said earlier, is probably closer to 20%. I'm going to estimate around 18%, and I could be way off. It could be much, much higher than that. Majority of Americans make lifestyle changes as gas prices hit record highs. $6.39 today, ladies and gentlemen. That is literally 1 mile from where I'm making this video. A report from LendingTree shows 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, up from 61% in December. I think it's a very conservative number. I think it's much higher. As costs skyrocket, the average working American is watching his and her wages being stripped away by inflation. People have no money put away, ladies and gentlemen. They have no safety net. They have nothing put away for a rainy day. The average household is now going to spend an additional $3,000 on gas and food. That's $3,000 now. That is not going to go maybe to a retailer, to a restaurant. That's just not going to go into the real economy. It's just going to go to the grocery store, and it's going to go to the gas pump. That's money that is not going to be used to go on a vacation. That's money that's not going to go into buying a new car. That's money that's not going to go into buying a new house. That's money that is being just pulled right out of the system and going right into the gas tank or right into the grocery store. People have no money put away, ladies and gentlemen. And I talked about this for years. Many of you in the comments talked about this for years. You better have something put away. You better have an emergency fund. Tough times are coming. And ladies and gentlemen, the tough times are knocking at the door now, but it's going to get much tougher. People think that this is going to go away once things over in Eastern Europe clear up. They're sadly mistaken. We have inflation running out of control, and it began before Eastern Europe. We have major debt, major deficits, a labor issue, credit tightening, and we have massive bubbles that are getting so close to bursting. So now, after this $3,000 is basically vacuumed out of the average household's pocket, what do? What do they do? West Hollywood gas station yesterday, regular gas, $7.35, premium, $7.95. What is the average person going to do? Heaven forbid you need an alternator. You need to get the brakes done on your car. You blow a transmission out. Your child falls down, needs 20 stitches. You know, things happen. Things come up. Emergencies happen. Things that we don't think about happen. And it's usually when people don't have a safety net, when they don't have money put away, when they're living paycheck to paycheck and cannot put any money away. And many people are just completely irresponsible. They've decided not to put any money away. They just want to spend. They're addicted. They're addicted to spending. They can't stop spending. And, you know, they're going to run into serious problems. And I don't feel sorry for those people, but I do feel sorry for people who are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they're still having a hard time, you know, putting money away. Car breaks down, kid needs to go to urgent care, and you're looking at these fuel prices, you're looking at these food prices, and fuel and food, you got to have them. But it's really, really sad because right now people are broke, and if they're not, they're getting very, very close to being broke. And many have resorted to using credit cards or resorted into pulling equity out of their homes. And the problem is we're not even deep into this collapse yet, this situation. And people have already run out of gas. And we've just started this race. And they're already tapped out. They're broke. They're out of gas. And we got a long way to go. And what are they going to do? How do they survive? People are going to shop less. They're going to go out to dinner less. They're going to buy less clothes. They may, wear their shoes longer. They may not buy that new pair of jeans, that new pair of Nikes. They may keep the old computer longer, the old cell phone longer. This is what people are going to have to do now. Many people now are going to have no choice but to stop spending or to be spending less. And I've said many times before, get ready, because many people out there, your lifestyle, your standard of living is about to change. Mortgage rates jump back to higher levels. I look today, 30 years sitting at 4.22%. And there's going to be a magic number where that 30-year hits a certain number where people just aren't going to be buying homes. They're just not going to be applying for mortgages. What that number is, well, it's already started. Mortgage applications are down. Sales have cooled way down. What happens if that 30-year hits 4.75? What if it hits 5.25? It's going to make a difference. Just like at some point when gas hits $6, $7, $8, people are just going to decide to stay at home. They're just not going to drive. And right now, there's a lot of people out there laughing, joking, and they're just slapping it on the credit card. No big deal. They think that these prices are going to go down by April, by May. It's all over. We're going to be back to, $3, $4 gas out here in California. Not going to happen. They think that the prices at the grocery store are going to regress back to 2019. Not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, people haven't felt the pain yet because they still have the credit cards. They still have the ATM money out of the house. They haven't felt the pain yet. But sadly, many people are about to feel a lot of pain. Over half of Americans have medical debt, even those with health insurance. Also on CNBC, get this, a quarter of these people owe $10,000 or more. People are struggling. People judge the people that are homeless on the streets, and they have no idea how many of these people got into huge amounts of medical debt, lost their homes, lost their jobs over it, and had nobody to fall back on. Now they're on the streets and they're homeless. This is how quick things can happen. And when you're looking at 62 or 72% of this country living paycheck to paycheck, what happens when you miss one paycheck? What happens when you miss 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks? I look at the retailers across America and in my area, how many have not been paying rent for over a year? How many are tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars behind in rent or bills, credit card payments? It's a mess, and many of them are not going to get out of it. I think we're going to see huge casualties, economic casualties by the end of 2022. University of Michigan sentiment slumps in March as hope plunges. Inflation expectations surge. Just another bellwether, ladies and gentlemen. The sentiment is going to get worse. And don't forget that the credit card companies are so kind. They're going to raise merchant rates, which will be passed on to you. And don't forget that your banks have been borrowing money for literally zero and charging you 18, 22, 23, 25% on your credit cards, passing the savings on to you because they love you so much. Russia allows China banks to buy oil without letters of credit to bypass Western sanctions. This on Reuters today. Oil giant Surrogate has allowed Chinese buyers to receive oil without providing guarantees known as letters of credit in order to bypass sanctions. This is a huge deal, and it's also a very, very huge threat to the petrodollar, ladies and gentlemen. So much happening behind the scenes. The US dollar, in my opinion, is on borrowed time, and we are seeing a threat right now, right here, to the petrodollar as deals are being done, excluding the US dollar. And it's a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen, before other countries jump on board. And this is going to send this country, America, spiraling out of control. We will be a third world country literally overnight when this, not if, but when this happens. And that this doesn't mean that it's going to happen next week or next month or even next year. But the future, as we move along, the future of the dollar is on borrowed time. And as I've said in the past, the U.S. put the world on the dollar standard. The world is going to take America off the dollar standard. Make sure you have real assets. So I'm going to wrap it up right here, but I want to share one last article coming from Reuters. Bitcoin slides on report. Russians seek to liquidate billions in crypto. Crypto firms in the UAE are being flooded with requests to liquidate billions of dollars in virtual currency as Russians seek a safe haven for their fortunes. They're using their cryptos to buy real estate in the UAE, many exchanging cryptos for virtual money, hard currency. And so when I read this, and this is not a bash on cryptos, you can buy cryptos till you turn blue. You can buy cryptos all day long. Doesn't bother me, and it shouldn't. Do what your heart desires. But the more we read and hear about cyber attacks, the outages, gas lines, pipelines, the outages in some of the financial institutions and banks that have happened over in Eastern Europe, have happened here. It's a sign of the times. We're going to see more of this technology assaulting the banking system, the financial system here. And it's only a matter of time before we see grids go down here, a major cyber attack at a large financial institution. And so with all this technology, to me, the best way to protect yourself is with simplicity. And so I've gone back to simplicity: cash, gold, silver, barterable items, food, water, etc., and of course security. To me, the best way to protect yourself from all of this technology assaulting the system is just simplicity. But a lot of people want to continue to rely on computers, do all their transactions on computers, have all their money on computers, rely on a plastic card at the ATM. Look, today, if you wanted to go to that Bank of America, and get $5,000 out of that bank, you're not going to get it. So maybe you have to go to another one. But if everybody else, went to that other bank, they're probably not going to give you $5,000 today. But the bottom line is this: when I go to a bank, why can't I just get my money out of it? And when the doors are locked and nobody's there, it makes me feel very, very uncomfortable, and it should make you feel uncomfortable too. But again, it's all about getting back to simplicity. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. And this is not a judgment or criticism to cryptocurrencies. Again, buy cryptos till you turn blue in the face. Buy the effing dip. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing, what my friends are doing, what some of my family members are doing. And that is just getting back to simplicity. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. The lights go out, the grids go down, the computer doesn't work. How in the world are you going to survive? It will be the worst at times when you need money, when you need barterable goods. Question is, will you be prepared for those times? When the lights go out, when the computer doesn't work, will you be able to feed yourself? Will you be able to protect yourself? Will you be able to do a transaction? Or will you be reliant and subservient to the system and wait till the system turns back on to allow you to access your money, to allow you to access those digits on a screen? And God forbid, what if that's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? And God forbid, what if they never come back on? What if it just disappears? Anything's possible, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare. It's a good weekend. It's a beautiful weekend to get out and prepare. Stay on track. God bless all of you. Thanks for watching. Please share this video and make sure you subscribe.